Hi, and welcome to our latest edition of Chamber Chat. For those that follow me, know I'm a big believer in, dare I say, ABC, always be closing. And I'm delighted to be joined by one of our new chamber members, Jay from Straightforward Sales. Jay, how you feeling?
Good.
Good.
Excited.
I'm loving the energy. Let's go straight into this, Jay. Just start by telling me a little bit about you as a person.
About me. I'm Jay. I am one of the directors at Straightforward Sales. I am the ripe old age of 28. I am a mum of two.
Love that.
And I have a massive passion for everything sales.
So let's take it right to the beginning. Do you remember your first job?
I do. I was working in our neighbouring place of Kettering. I was in a telecall centre with a dial headset on selling business finance.
How did that come about?
I don't know. I think like most people, when I left school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. You know, there was always avenues of going to hair or beauty, and that just really wasn't my bag. So I actually had a friend that was like, I've got a sales job. Do you want to give it a go? And I thought, well, why not? Not got any qualifications, so we'll just wing it. Walked into the interview. It was basically just reading a script, headset on, and off you go. It's like crazy.
I find that so fascinating, Jay. And the reason I say that is it's so similar to my first job. There was no induction. It was a case of there's a dial, make 60 dials a day and do 3 hours talk time. How long did you do that job for, if you don't mind me asking?
I was there for well over a year.
Brilliant.
So I was there, worked my way up, started in at the bottom and sort of went to a team leader role. And then I got to the point where I was like, there's got to be more for me than just looking at a PC every day. And then I went for a job interview over in Corby selling signage, which was more of an internal role, but a bit more customer centric, a bit more having more than a quick conversation off of a script. It was actually I managed an area internally. So I went in, had a really lengthy job interview, actually with Gareth, who is obviously the other director of Straightforward Sales. So there is obviously a story there to be told one
Plug
day.
for Gareth.
He grilled me. And I mean, I've never had an interview like that in my life. I left thinking, what an absolute beep out, whatever I was about to say then. And I was like, I don't want the job. And then I got offered the job. And actually, I was like, I'm going to show him that I can do this. Because he sat in that interview and he called me a princess. And I was not impressed. I worked hard every day and then got a promotion and sort of went out on the road, which I just sort of fell in love. That's when I really fell in love with sales, was being out in person, speaking to people, learning about people's jobs, what they do, their businesses. And I think that's probably where the love for sales really grew.
You were doing telesales and then you started going into face-to-face sales. What was the big difference between the two?
I think when you're on the phone, it's quite a harsh environment because people just hang up.
Yes.
People can't hang up when you're in person. It's much more personable. It was building those rapport and being a bit stronger with your connections because you were part of that business. So instead of just ringing somebody up trying to sell them something over the phone, it was actually sitting with them and finding out what's going to help them with their business and what's going to work. And I think people were much more receptive to that than just picking up the phone. We've all had a cold call. We've all made those cold calls. But actually, when you're in person, it is the most important thing, and the thing that I always stress is to build that rapport and understand and help that person. Sales is problem solving. That's all it is. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's just a straightforward problem solve.
I think some really good advice there for our audience there. Sales is problem solving. It's finding the solution to an issue which is going to impact a business in terms of its growth. I think that's some fantastic advice there, Jay. So how long did you do that job for then, if you don't mind me asking?
I was there for 2 years, I think I was there for. And then, surprise, I fell pregnant. And
Congratulations.
yeah, I mean, he's now nearly 4, so it just feels like a lifetime ago. And somebody said to me when I was pregnant, you've now got a choice to make, which is either be a mum or be a career woman.
Wow.
And I remember going home that day thinking, that doesn't work for me. I don't want to make a choice. Why can't I do both? Why can't I help people grow in their career and grow in their business and then still do a school run or not miss a nativity play? So after that, I had a maternity leave. I had a full year. It was fab. But then I think lost my colour a bit. I become more of a mum than a career lady. So I actually then went and worked as a sales manager for a company, again a local company in Northampton, as the sales manager, and it was construction, which is a whole new ball game. I knew nothing about construction and nothing about fencing, which is I didn't have a clue. I didn't know how to put up a fence. I didn't know, so I had to learn all of this. The MD actually really put me through my paces, taught me how to put a fence up, taught me how to learn all of the different things that go into what would be as simple as a fence, but it's definitely not. So then I went and won big contracts with the big house builder. So I went a bit more corporate with that. Loved it, absolutely loved it. Surprised again, fell pregnant. So then I had my maternity leave. And this time round, I thought, you know what? It's time to be a mum, but be a career woman and do what I really enjoy on my terms and my way.
Something I'm very passionate about, Jay. So my mum is my absolute superhero in life. Ran her business, but also managed to look after me at the same time. So something I can really, really relate to. Obviously, you had a big ground in there, an exciting ground in there. You've worked on smaller contracts, now started working on bigger contracts. Sales is absolutely the heartbeat of everything you've enjoyed doing. Where did straightforward sales come from then?
Do you know what? We've all sat on sales courses. There's only ever been one that I've sat on that I've enjoyed. And I wanted to break the mould a little bit when it comes to sales training and all of the bits that Straightforward do, and bespoke the training to the person that was sat in front of me. I didn't want to just pick a course off the shelf and deliver it and leave. I wanted to build a business that meant that I sat with my clients, I integrated into their business, I understood what they were selling. I personality test all of the people that sit on my courses, so I understand their tendencies and how that they retain information. So I wanted to build a bespoke training business, which is what we've done. You know, we go into customers, we sit there, find out what they want to do, whether they want to grow sales, whether they want to upskill their staff on upselling, cross-selling, all of the things that we do. And I think the most important thing is that we make it really personal to those that are there. And for the people that are business owners, you don't just want to throw money at a training course. They come in, they deliver it, they take your money and they leave. I like to stay. I do check backs. I get really in with the business. You know, you've met one of my massive clients who is a platinum partner of the Chamber. I am so involved in that business now that I understand what they do. And I haven't got a thing. I didn't know there was a parking industry out there. I didn't know that was a thing. Now I'm so involved in actually training and helping the staff that I am now part of their business.
I think that's such a powerful message you've just shared there, Jay, because you're positioning yourself as an extension to that business, and having that approach is only going to strengthen the business's engagement, commercial opportunities, and brand awareness at the same time. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to keep on the piece of sales for those that sort of follow me on LinkedIn, etc. And I'm very big on sales. When somebody says the term sales, what do you think is the perception from the general public of the term sales?
I think people roll their eyes. I think they all think we're a bit like Matilda's dad and just bodge everything and just try and get out the door. And I think I really want to change the way that people view salespeople. There are salespeople out there, and we can't ignore the fact there are salespeople out there that just want to throw you a deal and run. That's not what I want to train my guys and my team to do. I want them to have a really personal approach when it comes to selling. At the end of the day, we all buy mostly with a motive. So actually, let's guide somebody through it. Let's help them out. Let's give them the best solution. Let's give them the best opportunities to either grow their business if you're selling straight to customers, or if you're in business to business. You know, how can you help each other? And I think one thing that you always say, and I'm really with it, the whole ABC is be connecting, be communicating, and be a community, because that's really important in our industry. And I think without salespeople, you don't have a business. So actually get good salespeople that are going to help grow your business, help grow your brand, and gain you that respect in the industry.
Again, Jay, can relate to a lot of that. I think what you're mentioning there is you don't close the sale, you open the relationship. And you mentioned about your big customer there, Wise Parking. I think that's exactly what you've done right there, is not closing that relationship. You recently attended an exhibition with them, supporting them, and I think that's going above and beyond. And in terms of sales, what are the different ways businesses can sell? What would be your advice?
I think it's all very dependent on what industry you're in. You know, I love a LinkedIn sale. I love messaging people on LinkedIn. getting them into the local coffee house that I'm sure I've got a membership in one of the tables. I think you've got lots. I'm still a big fan of telesales because that's where I started. That's literally where my whole career grew. And I think I like all of the different aspects when you've got telesales, you've got inbound, you've got outbound, you've got area salespeople. These people are those that are out there that you trust as a business owner to represent your brand. And I think it's key that you have the right people there with the right skills, because at the end of the day, all of your salespeople are just a reflection of the business.
Oh, I love the fact that you actually said telesales there, because I think in this day and age we can be guilty of searching for the next big thing and forget the basics of business. Dare I say the door knocking approach, the telesales approach. I think there's still a big market for all of that, Jay. We get a lot of businesses which are startup businesses. And in terms of startup businesses, the one area they seem to sometimes neglect is sales. They've got a fantastic product, they've got a fantastic service. What would be your advice to somebody who's just a startup business? And I'm sure there's many of our audience listening that's a startup business and they're out there networking, etc., which is great. But what advice would you give them to ultimately sell their services?
I think the main thing for me is get out there. Take yourself out there. If it's just you, if it's you in a small team, get out there and get people to know who you are. I think we always either send an email, and I'm not a big fan of emails because I've been on plenty of sales teams and when I've sent an email, it's not actually pick the phone up, have the conversation. And emails are one-way conversation, telephone conversations or networking is a two-way conversation. And that's really what we should all start doing is getting out with people. The chamber is somewhere that, I'm attending the Women with Vision event, actually taking Jazz from Wise Parking as well,
Brilliant.
getting her out there.
Plug Women with Vision Network.
So I think it is go to your local networking events, find your local networking groups, lean on the community and then give back as they give to you. And I think that's really important. It's all about sharing in the small place that we are. And, I think sales is something, like you say, that gets neglected very quickly. But actually without sales, you've not got a business.
You mentioned networking there, and it still concerns me how many times businesses attend one event and they don't get a sales ready lead and then you never see them again. So what would be your advice to networking? How do you approach networking, as in Jay from Straightforward Sales?
I approach it as me. And I approach it as a double denim cowgirl boot wearing girl that just rocks up, says hello, speaks to people. And I do it every time. I say the same thing. Because it's me. I'm just authentic. I'm not trying to be anything bigger than I am. I'm not trying to be anything that I'm not. I literally just come in as me, full of energy, unless it's an early one, then give me a coffee first. But come and speak to people. That's get out and speak to people and do it again and again and again, because one day it will come off. You've got to be in the room. If you're not in the room, you're not in the opportunity.
Absolutely. And what would be your advice to those businesses that are struggling with sort of identifying their unique selling points? Where does Straightforward Sales come into this? Where can you support businesses who have a great product, have a great service, but for some reason they're not getting the close? It's just not showing. Where does Straightforward Sales support that?
Let us write you a sales strategy. Everything starts with a pen and paper. And we not only do we offer bespoke training courses, we offer the plug-in sales management, which is obviously what I do for quite a lot of my clients. I go in and I act as the sales manager, whether that's a one-man band or it's a big team. Having somebody that's actually driving it with you and for you is really key, because you can't, as a business owner, you wear so many hats. You can't do everything. And I think it's really important to identify your strengths and your weaknesses and help and get people to come and help you with your development areas. And if sales is one of them, we can write you a sales strategy. We can support you. We can put you in the room. Everybody that knows me knows I love connecting people here, there and everywhere. So actually, sit with us, talk to us. We'll put a strategy in place. We'll put a plan in place, and we'll, it's forever changing. We can't just write something down, send it off and just leave it. If it needs to change, we'll change it. We'll look at what works. We'll look at what doesn't. And we'll be the extension of your business on the sales side. And we cover everything sales, whether it be Gareth, who does the plugins director, he does the higher level stuff, and then I sort of do the management. And then I still get on the phones for people. I've got a customer that I get literally a spreadsheet and I pick up and I sell over the phone to him from the house.
It's not a one-size-fits-all model,
Definitely
is it?
not. And I love both ends. I love the management of the teams and the training, but I also still love picking up the phone and selling on the phone. It's where I started. It's something that I'm still so passionate about. And I'm not ready for it to die. I'm not ready for the AI to pop in and start taking the jobs. I really, really love teaching people to pick up the phone and the confidence. The biggest thing and my most favourite thing to do is teach. We've got a confidence building course. Again, it's fully bespoke. We went into a customer a couple of weeks ago, team of ladies that all feel, because they're in a male-dominated industry, they're all a bit like, oh, I don't want to say anything wrong. And I literally, Shania Twain moment, kick the doors down, off we go, let's get the confidence up, let's get you on the phone and be a boss. Like, be an independent woman that can pick up a phone, or man, we don't, we're all inclusive here. You know, confidence is key. And I think that's something that every business owner and every salesperson really needs, is that confidence boost behind them to get them to have these conversations and do things that they're out of their comfort zone.
I think it's quite fascinating. The whole confidence piece is some of the people that I know that you'd think are the most confident on how they perceive to the outside world are sometimes have the most insecurities internally. In terms of, and I'm a big believer in personal development, talk to me a little bit about what your training delivers away from just closing the sale, etc. What are the elements of the training? Does it support confidence? How does it support confidence? Is it self-awareness? Could you tell us a little bit more about the attributes of the training you deliver in terms of self-development?
Yeah, so I think we all have personas, don't we? We all wear different hats, different personas when you're with your friends, when you're with your family, when you're in front of a big client meeting. And I think when we deliver these sales courses and the confident courses, I purposely put people out of their comfort zone. So we have an exercise where I will get you to write something that you're so passionate about. And that can be absolutely anything, whether that's, most people write it on their animals or their kids. And then I'll ask them to switch with the person that's sat next to them. So you might have, I don't know, car parts in front of you and you're like, well, I haven't got a clue. And then we teach them with different techniques how to become confident in whatever that is on that piece of paper. It does not matter what you're talking about. How you think and how your mindset is how you're going to come across confidence. You might not have a clue about anything that's in front of you, but we show you that actually it doesn't necessarily matter. We'll teach you, we'll give you the skills. And then you can take that in everyday life. You know, one of my close clients, and I'm not going to keep plugging them, when I first walked into the business, she was a very introverted, quiet girl. Now, and I've only been there 6 weeks, I'm about to do my next 3 months with them, but she's now a force of nature, and I'm so impressed with how far she's come on because I've given her a safe space to just be confident. And she's so knowledgeable, but she was so shy. And now, as you'll see at all these events, she's just not that shy anymore.
You see the passion, Jay, when you talk about that client and how much it means to you. Is that your why in business? Yes, the financial side's important, but is that your why, that development of people?
100%. I love nothing more than watching the wallflowers turn into roses, because you know what? It means I've done my job and I've done it for them. Like I say, yes, there's always the financial attribute. And I always, I want to provide for my kids. The reason I do this is to give my kids a great future and a great start. But the love that I have for the job that I do, money can't buy that. And it's something that I'm so passionate about. And I love, the support that I have from so many people. I've got so many cheerleaders. Gareth is my biggest support. I wanted to set up straightforward sales. And instead of giving me obstacles, he was like, okay, let's do it. And here we are.
And just like any business, you're a fairly new startup business yourself. What's been some of the challenges being a startup business that you maybe hadn't thought about and thought, oh, you know what, that was an interesting obstacle to overcome?
I think it was actually our offering, because we can offer so much. You sort of go out there and you're like, I can do everything, and it's like, hang on a minute, what can we do that's going to benefit people? Let's streamline it. Let's give the most a cost-effective way for people. And I think also getting brand out there. It's so important to get out and speak to people. And you're only in a room for a certain amount of time. You usually get a 60-second pitch. It's like there's so much more than those 60 seconds. So actually, it's really, I think one of the biggest challenges I've had is people to get to know who I am and why I did this and why we continue to do it. And with the support of so many clients, we started off in the front room with not a single client. We just sat there with a notepad and pen, and we were like, Gareth was like, well, you want to do it, Jay? So off you go. And I'm like, wow, how? And now we've got a lovely little book of clients that we work with. And again, we don't just go in, deliver a course and leave. We're constantly with them. We're constantly developing them. And I think that's something I never thought we'd do. I I think originally we thought we'd just be sales trainers, and then actually we're like, no, let's get our feet under the table with these businesses and help them grow and give them the support that they need.
Thank you for being so honest there, Jay, as well, because it's something we can relate to at the Chamber, because they think of the Chamber as a networking opportunity. Yes, networking is maybe 2% of what we do. What about the other 98% in terms of the benefits? And I can relate to a lot of what you've just said there. In terms of what's next for the business, where do you see this business in terms of the longer term strategy? And what would be your plan to say this business has been a success?
I think that's a really tough question. I just want to continue doing what we're doing. And I always, I'm a girl with big dreams. Being 28, being a young woman in business is challenging on its own. But I want to continue to do what we're doing, which is making our customers happy, upselling and cross-selling their team skills, and just sort of stick with what we're doing. I think I want to travel, so I want to do a lot now so that I can take the children away, because obviously we're now going into the summer holiday. That's the only time we can travel, so I want to work as much as I can while they're at school and get them out when we can travel. So I think what success looks like for me is actually a happy family, that work-life balance that I have, and that is the most important thing for me.
I think we're all thriving for that, aren't we? In one way or the other, etc. We're all thriving for that. And in terms of the business itself, is the business going to evolve as you evolve as a person? Is there plans to look at more divisions? You talked about that offering and you've sort of had to strip it back, but is there plans to offer even more away from just sales, training, etc.?
I think there is. I think Gareth's he's growing his sort of business side. So straightforward sales is my baby and straightforward business will be his. So that's more business strategies, planning, breaking new markets, and that's sort of his way. But for me, it's very much, I just want to grow this the best I can and then eventually shake Gareth off of my tail and let him do his own thing so I can just run with it completely on my own.
Jay, in your opinion, and we've had guests on this show talk about the importance of people buying into people. Is that just a catchphrase? Do genuinely people buy into people?
No, I think it's very much runs true. If you don't like somebody, chances are you're probably not going to buy from them. There may be an instant where you have to, but you probably will go elsewhere to find somebody that you can relate to. And I think that's the most important thing. Everything we ever buy, we usually buy into the person that's selling it to us. And I think that's really important. And you've got to be out there. You've got to be authentic. You've got to be a people person. You've got to be able to speak and listen. You can't sell if you're just going to shut yourself off and be selfish. And I think, people buy into people, and that will never change.
I do agree with that. And I was sort of putting you on the spot a little bit there with that one, Jay, and I do agree with you. There's so many businesses I come across and they realise the importance of they want to network, etc. That first step is normally quite challenging for them to actually get in the room. You mentioned it earlier, actually, if you're not in the room type of thing. What advice would you give to a business or salesperson who wants to be out there, but they're finding it difficult to take that first step?
Drop me a line and I'll come with you.
Plug right there.
Absolutely. I want to get everybody everywhere. Like the Chamber as well is such an important part for me, actually. So if they need to, reach out to you, reach out to Jake, speak to you. Are both of you are the most welcoming people, and there are plenty of network groups out there. Not all are as welcoming as the Chamber. Some are, some aren't, but go out, come to the Chamber. I mean, what a great event that, we put together last week. That was fab. We've got another one in, I think it's September. Come along. What's the worst that can happen? And that is the best piece of advice. What is the worst that can happen if you walk into that room? Nobody's going to tell you to leave and somebody's going to speak to you.
Wow, Jake, I think we're in trouble. We've got a fantastic advocate here for the Chamber if you're watching.
Come in for you, Jake.
And I didn't even pay you for that. Thank you very much for that, Jay. I think we're conscious of the time. We've already been speaking for nearly 27 minutes, which is amazing. However, you know how passionate I am about sales, and I encourage businesses to reach out to Jay. Jay, what I'd like you to do is look directly in that camera. And I'd like you to reach out directly to the audience and tell them a little bit more about Straightforward Sales, where they can reach out, where they can find out more about you. Is it LinkedIn? I know you're very big on LinkedIn. Plug all that, please. So please do tell the world and the audience a little bit more about you guys.
Hi, guys. So as we've all seen, I'm Jay from Straightforward. You can reach me on LinkedIn. Please come to me with anything sales related. whether you've got a team that you want training, or whether it's you, whether you need more confidence, or whether you just want to come along to a chamber event with me, please reach out on LinkedIn. All of my details are on there, and I really look forward to hearing from you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jay. I found that really fascinating. Your passion for people, the passion of understanding your why, absolutely thrives through everything you do. Your opportunity for work-life balance, Jay. And I would reach businesses to reach out to you, have a conversation, because if you don't have the conversation, you don't know the response. So, Jay, absolute pleasure to have you on. Please, 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 if you're at networking events, have a conversation, because it all starts, as Jay said, with a conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.